You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the official Deaf Crocodile Podcast. We are here with Craig and Dennis, as usual, and I'm going to jump right into a discussion topic because Dennis has been posting fun pictures. What do you guys do as far as fall time? Dennis, you've been posting apple orchard picking pictures?
Yes. I went apple picking up here in Northern California, Santa Cruz area, where I'm based now with my wife and our 21-year-old son, Shondor. We had a fantastic time picking a bunch of apples. And we have a big kind of spooky Halloween display on our front porch as well. And it includes a gypsy fortune teller with a crystal ball. My wife got a life-sized mannequin and dressed it up with a wig that she had left over many, many years ago. Actually, before we met, she dressed as Carrie for a Halloween party and drenched herself in fake blood. And she still had the wig, so she put the wig on the mannequin, and it looks fantastic. Very spooky. Nice. So that's what we've been up to here for fall activities. What about you, Craig? What do you guys do every October-ish?
Absolutely not.
The two ends of the spectrum.
Apple picking I do enjoy, but it is at least a couple hours away, so we don't do it all the time.
Is that not readily available in Santa Monica?
No. We do like trick-or-treat and handing out the candy to the kids. It's really dependent on what day of the week the holiday falls on. So being a Friday night this time, we probably anticipate we'll have a lot of people. And we are that neighborhood house that gives out the full-size candy bars.
None of that. You're in Roger's house.
None of that snack size shit at our place.
2025, that's like a true investment.
Yeah, it is, but it's worth it. And at least once, there'll always be at least one kid who sees the bucket of candy and their eyes get really big, and then they go running down the driveway screaming that we have full-size candy bars. And there's always another kid, there's actually usually more than one, who will just start reaching in and just 1, 2, 3, 4, and the parent will be like, whoa, stop. What are you doing? One. You get one.
You should find some candy that looks like a rock and give it to at least one kid in honor of the Peanuts Halloween special. Because we just rewatched it.
The kid won't know that, though.
Charlie Brown gets a rock at every house he goes. And I was like, who gives out rocks to kids on Halloween? Oh, God.
So, yeah, looking forward to it this year being a Friday night, because I think last year was a weekday, and it was like 10 kids came. It was sad. It was nobody. But on the weekends, I think we've topped out at like 140 before, so.
Oh, wow.
So, a very huge difference between a weekday and a weekend.
It'll be busy this year, undoubtedly.
Well, I'm sure I was going to say, I'm sure like you guys, you watch probably, horror sci-fi movies all month long, which doesn't make it any different from the other months. But the other thing that we do is we have a big collection of vintage Halloween records, which include Witchcraft,
you've got some weird ones.
ESP. Yeah, so we have all the great, Dracula's Deuce and its Monster Surfing Time and, the mid-'60s. Kind of the Monster Kid, Aurora model building era. They put out a bunch of sort of Monster Mash type albums. So we play those every day all month in October. So...
I got a friend that owns Karma Records in Warsaw, Indiana, and he just sent me 3 Halloween mixtapes. He makes with them once a year. In the last 3 years, he made these super comprehensive, like very, very responsibly curated, themed discs. And now I get all 3 to dive into this month. I'm so stoked on that.
It's fantastic.
On the note of rocks and special people, my intelligenter half is here, Dr. Will Dodson. Welcome.
Hey, Will.
He proved his point
here.
by saying
Yes.
intelligenter.
That was the point. Yes.
Intelligenter. Yeah. Doesn't say where the bar actually is, but
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I'm
You're the smarter one.
I'm excited about the month too. Today actually is my wedding anniversary, October 13th, and the birthday of our youngest daughter is the 31st. So we have a palindromic spooky season that is also infused.
Happy anniversary.
Infused with some doomed Dark Shadows type of love story.
My younger brother Jace's wedding anniversary was, I think, 2 days ago.
Nice.
Been married
wow. Yeah.
22 years, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, to top it off, this is our lucky 13th year. So
Whoa.
our 13th anniversary on the 13th. So if this shed collapses on top of me, you'll know there's some cosmic reason for it. But I'm excited. We're about to, I think this weekend we're going to go to the pumpkin patch and get some specimens for jack-o'-lantern carving and whatnot. Very excited about it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We get to talk about a trilogy of films today that Deaf Crocodile has put up for pre-order, and they are really special. Dennis, tell us about Teuvo Tulio, because this is not a name that many cinephiles have been breathing much over the last few years, but I hope that this changes some things in that direction.
Finnish filmmaker Teuvo Tulio is an amazing discovery for those that don't know his work. He started out in the silent era in Finland, actually as an actor in a kind of Rudolph Valentino vein. He had a really unusual background. He was born to a Turkish-Polish father and a Persian-Latvian mother. And his family moved to Finland when he was 10. And after initially working as an actor in the kind of the very end of the silent era in Finland in the late 20s and early 30s, he turned to directing in the early 30s. And his best known movies were done in the 40s and 50s and were these incredible sort of mad, dreamlike mixtures of surreal melodrama and 1940s black and white film noir tropes and elements of German expressionism and even Gothic horror mixed in. And our release is going to contain 2 examples from his most famous period of filmmaking, Cross of Love and Restless Blood. And those both star a truly remarkable actress named Regina Linnenheimo, who was his kind of creative partner for a number of years. She also was a very gifted screenwriter and wrote or co-wrote scripts for a number of their films together. And then Tulio's career kind of started to tail off in the mid-late 1960s, like a lot of filmmakers who had kind of started out in the mid-late 30s and 40s, kind of found it difficult to kind of keep up with the times. And he started work on what would become his last film and sort of his magnum opus. It's called Sensuela. It was actually a remake of his earlier film, Cross of Love. And it was described to us by Danish filmmaker Reinert Kiel, who we have to give a huge thank you and shout out to recommending Tulio's work. It was described as the ultimate cult film. And we kind of scoffed and said, that's kind of impossible. There is no ultimate cult film. And then we watched Sensuela and we said, yeah, you may be right. It's this insane mashup of ethnographic Lappish reindeer herding docudrama, and then kind of John Waters meets Doug Sirk meets Russ Meyer meets the Love Witch style melodrama that mixes up Technicolor, production design, kind of softcore sexploitation elements and mod 60s, early 70s kind of pop art fashions and interior design. And as we kind of describe it, it appears to have been beamed in from an alternate universe where all standards of good taste are missing or inverted, kind of like Bizarro Superman world where evil is good and up is down. Everything is sort of reversed in the world of Sensuela, and it's truly astonishing. I think it's his masterpiece and sort of the summation of all of his work, but it is also an outlier in that it does have a lot of a kind of hard R-rated eroticism, nudity, and sex. There's a lot of nudity. In the middle of the film, there's like there's kind of an 8-minute how to use a Finnish sauna sequence where they try to artfully place pieces of kind of furniture and whisks to hide genitalia, but not entirely successful. And I think his work is probably best compared to Doug Sirk, like I mentioned before, and Rainer Werner Fassbinder, in that all three of these filmmakers used melodrama, but in an almost kind of Brechtian sense, where they create this really strange, surreal, emotional distancing effect to what's being portrayed on screen. And it's really astonishing. Once you see his movies, you kind of like they're really addictive and you just want to watch one after the other. So we are including his last film, Sensuela, Cross of Love, which was the earlier version. Both great, wildly different. They are such different films that you can watch both of them and enjoy them immensely. And Restless Blood. And it's the first Blu-ray release of Teuvo Tulio's work here in North America. So we're really excited.
Amazing. Craig, was this your first intro as well to anything Tulio?
Absolutely. And as I watched them the whole time, I just kept thinking, like, I'm sure if John Waters saw these films, he'd just be like, "Damn, I wish I'd made that."
Yeah.
And like the Douglas Sirk, like if the two of them worked together and made a movie together, it would be these films. Like they're so intentionally tasteless. Like it's really kind of cool. They're a lot of fun. They really are.
They're tasteless in multiple different ways too. Like even the fashion sense, like in Sensuela, is so bonkers in a couple of the scenes. I love it. Everything is just clashing.
Yeah, it's and then like the opening of Sensuela, like they made no effort whatsoever to make it realistic. Like it is so intentionally fake. Like the plane and the crash and all of it is so it's not bad filmmaking It's intentional. Like, it's not supposed to be real, and they don't want you to think it's real for a second.
Right. It's almost like Ed Wood Plan 9 from outer space. Artificiality. One of the other elements in Sense Whale that I love so much is that the opening of the film is set clearly at the end of World War II, and the lead character is a member of the Sami people, who were the indigenous people in the north of Finland and Lapland, who are known for kind of reindeer herding. And a German plane crash lands, and she saves the pilot, and they fall in love, and are eventually separated. And then the action leaps forward at least a quarter century, like 25 years. And they're reunited in Helsinki in the kind of swinging late 60s.
Yeah, it is very strange that it's very clearly a Nazi pilot that crashed, and then the next thing you know, you're in like
swinging 60s orgies.
The 60s in the city.
And there's no explanation of the
none.
25 years that have passed, and the characters don't age a day. No attempt to make them look old
there's so many
at all.
Just weird, fun things that you're like, why on earth would they do that? Like, I don't know if it was actual product placement or if they just did it as kind of like, this would be funny, but like, if she's flying in the plane and it becomes like an ad for the airline, it's so wild.
Oh, everything in it, all of the presentation of like you'll see almost like in a like an ad, Viking ship lines. You see like these incredibly bright red coffee pots, and there's a scene in a kind of grocery store where her reindeer herding father goes, and there's a big reveal there. But all of the products on the shelves, they're almost like Warhol's Campbell's soup can or Brillo boxes, and it's intentional. And in a way, it subverts the allure of consumerism in the big city. So the film is all about this innocent young woman who is sort of seduced by this kind of depraved, louche, Nazi pilot, and taken away from her family and goes to Helsinki. And as with most of Tulio's work, they're very much about innocents who are corrupted, right? And that's very much the theme of Sensuela. But so you see the presentation of all of these products, and it kind of subverts the allure of consumerism by like, here, look, it's again like kind of like what Warhol was doing with the Campbell soup can or Brillo boxes. So
it's kind of, I find it fascinating how like every aspect of it is just putting the artificiality like in your face. Like even the Nazi, like he's wearing so much makeup, he looks bizarre. Like it's like it's intentional. Like they have just covered his face in so much makeup, and there's no reason. Like none of the other characters look like that. Like it's so bizarre. But yeah, it's a heck of a lot of fun.
Also, reindeer castration, so I should say simulated reindeer castration, plays a very big part of the film.
Yeah, say no more.
I will say no more. I will say no more. Other than that, it is one of the strangest and most subversive films I've ever seen. It was major flop for Tulio when it came out. The reviews were scathing. Essentially, kind of ended his career. And for a while, I think he actually pulled his films from distribution. He was so upset by the reaction against Sensuela. And it wasn't available for many, many years until I think just before he passed away. He kind of allowed it and his other films to start being shown and preserved again. And we worked with Kavi, our dear friends, Mikko Kuti, and his colleagues at the National Audiovisual Institute of Finland, who have been preserving and restoring Tulio's work to make these wonderful films available for the first time on Blu-ray here in North America. And they've done a really incredible job of preserving and kind of disseminating Tulio's work. Really interestingly, we were first, approached them and only wanted to release Sensuela, and they said, yes, we want Sensuela to be shown, but we actually have a rule that says you need to release at least one other Teuvo Tulio film with it, because we don't want people to think Sensuela represents his entire body of work. And we started to take a look at his other earlier films, the kind of wonderful black and white melodramas from the 40s with Regina Linnenheim, and fell in love with them. We said, oh, of course. And in fact, we wound up picking two other films, so it's a 3-film set. And it was initially just going to be Sensuela, and then I was like, Craig, we got to release 3 Teuvo Tulio movies.
And then just visually, Restless Blood. Like I go through the films and I pull stills for promotional and for the artwork and whatnot, and they were like, it was just endless, amazing imagery in Restless Blood. That it was just, I must have had like 50 stills I'd pulled, because there was just so many incredible shots, and the lead actress, she wears these really cool dark shades. She's her character's blind, and it's just visually such a cool film, but also in that kind of surreal, not super realistic way. These are very cool films.
Oh yeah, she looks like Peter Lorre in Mad Love, for anyone who's familiar with that amazing early 30s black and white German expressionist horror movie. And Regina Linnenheim is amazing. She's sort of a combination of kind of Liz Scott, Betty Davis with Jenna Rollins. And the more I see of her work, like the more I'm such a huge fan of Linnenheim. She is incredible in Cross of Love, where she plays the innocent daughter of a lighthouse keeper who's played by Oscar Tengstrom. And he literally has like a parrot sitting on his shoulder. And she winds up getting seduced and going to the big city and meets a sensitive young painter played by Rauli Tuomi, who in real life was actually married to Linnenheimo's actress sister Raquel. And Tuomi sadly committed suicide shortly after Cross of Love was made, which adds another kind of very strange sort of layer of tragedy and melodrama to watching the film. But the painter winds up painting her bare-breasted on a cross. And when you see it again, as Craig said, like, I can only imagine John Waters, if you watch this movie, is like, dear God, how come I didn't get to make this film? Because it is so perverse and subversive and jaw-dropping. This is the mid-1940s, and there's this half-naked woman as Jesus on a cross. So, as great as Sensuela is, and it is, I think, a masterpiece, his earlier work is equally incredible, which is why we're so excited for people to discover his work as a filmmaker. And I would recommend that they watch kind of them in chronological order. Watch Cross of Love, watch Restless Blood. And then when you get to Sensuela, you see how that is really an extension. It is the kind of summation, but it also takes it into such strange otherworldly dimensions that it's
watching them in order makes sense. You kind of get to see how did you get here.
Watch them grow. Yeah. Craig, you want to tell us about the release, what we got coming with it?
3 essays. Walt Chaw wrote on Restless Blood. Alexandra Heller-Nicholas wrote for Sensuela, and I'm going to butcher that first name. How do you pronounce that name?
Which one?
Eloise? Is it Eloise?
Eloise Ross.
Eloise.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Eloise Ross wrote an essay for Cross of Love. And then we've got a 4th essay by, oh boy. You asked me to ask these names. Venla Makela?
Venla Makela.
There we go. So we got 4 essays in this booklet. Commentary tracks for each film. Eloise Ross for Restless Blood, Rolf Giesen for Cross of Love, and Heidi Honeycutt on Sensuela.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just worked with Heidi on something else. Nice.
Heidi's amazing. Her book, I Spit on Your Celluloid, about female genre directors is fantastic. And she founded the ongoing Etheria Film Nights screening series that showcases female genre filmmakers as well. We love Heidi's work.
Video essay by Reinhard Kiel, and another video essay by you two. So you guys should probably talk about that one since you're here.
Go ahead, Will.
Well, this was such by way of describing this, I want to just kind of express my appreciation for the opportunity to work on Deaf Crocodile films. Ryan and I have been producing visual essays for you guys now for a couple of years. I think we started with Kent Zaza. And the great thing about working on any Deaf Crocodile project is you have to do a lot of research, because it is unlikely that you are going to know what you're talking about just going in. It's been such a thrill for me to do all this research on Finnish cinema, on Hungarian cinema, on Lithuanian cinema, just all the way around. I'm able to find excuses to linger in the library and buy books that I never would have been able to justify before. And learning about Tulio and watching these 3 films, and I'll say this is a personal guarantee. Anybody who gets this set and watches these films is going to clamor for a volume 2. These films are beautiful. They are, as Dennis described, melodramatic and campy and outlandish, but also very moving and dare I say, spiritual. Even in Sensuela, when I kept expecting a Nazi Austin Powers to pop in and go, "Der Fuhrer, baby," I found myself, yearning to follow the reindeer and learn the ancient ways of reindeer castration. So our visual essay for this one is really kind of an introduction to Tulio, exploring some of his themes throughout his filmography, a little bit about his career, with a focus on Sensuela and Cross of Love, and its source material, which is the Alexander Pushkin short story, The Station Master. So it was a lot of fun to put it together, a lot of fun, a lot of reading, and I'm so glad to be a part of this all-star lineup of supplemental features. This is just super cool.
It is funny. These will be the third and fourth films we've released based on Pushkin material, because, of course, Tale of Tsar Sultan and Ruslan and Ludmilla by the great Soviet filmmaker Alexander Petrushko are also adapted from Pushkin. We weren't really intending to do 4 Pushkin adaptations, but somehow they snuck in there.
I think it's great. Deaf Crocodile encourages patrons to stretch themselves artistically, literarily, historically. It's just awesome to explore all of these films.
Not to mention across mediums. That's one of my favorite things. Is there's so many different types of the way that films have been made.
And you learn so much. Artists and historians and archivists have to work in very tricky historical times, perhaps none as tricky as the ones we're in, and just to be able to find and license and release these films is such a feat. So yeah.
Well, and I should mention the other visual essay by Danish filmmaker Reinert Kiel, who recommended Tulio's work to us. As well, I should also give him kudos for recommending Norbert Pfaffenbichler's 2551 trilogy as well. So Reinert contributed a really fascinating visual essay for this Tulio set about the Sami people. And Reinert himself is, I think, a quarter Sami by heritage. So his visual essay is about the depiction of the Sami people in film, and he kind of says up front, don't look to Sensuela to be any kind of a accurate or documentary-like portrayal of Sami life, because it isn't.
It would be weird if that was the one thing they didn't do surrealistically. Yes.
But he also gets into the depiction of the Germans, Nazis in the film, as well as the complicated history of Finland and Germany and the Nazis in World War II, because we don't want to in any way kind of downplay the horrors of what happened in the Second World War, or people who suffered atrocities under the Germans and the Nazis. Again, you have to sort of watch Sensuela and see how Tulio uses all of these elements in the film. It is incredibly strange. It is incredibly entertaining, but also incredibly disturbing at the same time. But it doesn't
take place in our reality.
No.
It's like a very similar alternate universe.
Yeah. The other extra that I think is really worth focusing on is the essay by Finnish screenwriter and novelist Venla Mäkelä, because she grew up sort of watching these films. They would play Tulio's films after they were kind of allowed to be screened again, especially the older black and white ones. And she talks about looking at Tulio's work from a Finnish perspective, which is really fascinating, and I'm really glad that we were able to include that. And I will say there's a lot of divisive critical writing about Sensuela. Some people think it's a masterpiece. Some people think it is like Tulio's worst film, and kind of the bizarre coda to his career. So there isn't even a consensus about his final film, and I think there are some people who will watch it and go, what on earth is this?
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine people that were familiar with his work for the past 30 years and then saw Sensuela might have thought he lost his goddamn mind. But if you look at it on its own, and like, it's so clearly not meant to be real, like, it's not quite as shocking looking at it from the outside. But I can imagine, pick any American filmmaker that's below, like Steven Spielberg put out something like this, like, people would be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is interesting to get perspectives from it. Like you said, she's from Finland and grew up watching his films. That's such a completely different perspective than almost everyone who's about to see these. So it's good to have that perspective.
The other wonderful, so we have a lot of amazing bonus features on this, and many were supplied by Kavi, the National Audiovisual Institute of Finland. There are the only remaining fragments from Tulio's earliest features: Struggle for the House of Hekala and Fall Asleep When Young from 1936 and 1937. Unfortunately, the films were almost entirely destroyed decades ago, and they were able to preserve these two short fragments. One is 9 minutes, the other 22 minutes. So you can see his earliest work, and very interestingly, both star Regina Linnenheimo, who stars in Cross of Love and Restless Blood. And
so they had a long relationship.
Yes, they worked together for many years. She co-wrote Sensuela. She was a very gifted writer, as I said. There is a fascinating short documentary about the discovery and preservation of the short fragment of Fall Asleep When Young. So you actually get to see sort of behind the scenes of archival restoration and the actual materials, the nitrate materials that were rediscovered, and how that was handled and preserved. There is a Swedish language trailer for Cross of Love. So interestingly, there were Swedish language versions produced of several of Tulio's films from the 1940s that were shot simultaneously. So they weren't just dubbed, they actually performed in Swedish, and released these alternate versions in that market. So we have a trailer for the Swedish version of Cross of Love, and then we have two educational films from the kind of mid-late 1940s from Finland that address the sort of social and societal issues that Tulio was using thematically in his films from this time period. One called I Would Like to Be a Queen, and the other Shelters for Newborns. And that's really so people can kind of see from a more documentary perspective what was going on in Finland at that time, and also how Tulio kind of incorporated these themes in his work. So there's a lot of amazing kind of bonus stuff in this package, along with some great artwork. Craig, I don't know if you want to talk about the artwork.
Yeah, I was going to say that the limited edition box art is by Sam Smith, and it's definitely, what's the word? It'll stand out compared to most of our other releases. It was kind of a wild idea that I had, and I was like, so I just pitched the idea to him, and he kind of took it and ran. And I love it, but it's definitely different than any of the other covers we've done before, which is really cool. It's basically like he's taken all these images from all the films, and as though they were photographs, and he's torn them up into pieces and made a collage of all these images. And the fact that 2 of the films are black and white, and then Sensuela's color. So basically the background is all of this collage of black and white. And then the center is all the color images from Sensuela. But if you kind of look carefully, you'll also notice that the color images are in the shape of a reindeer. And it's just like kind of an assault on the senses of there's so many images and so much bright color. It's really cool. I'm kind of excited to see what this is going to look like in an actual physical in my hands, because the artwork is really, really cool.
This is the first time Sam has done art for Deaf Crocodile. And for those that have never heard the name Sam's Myth, Sam is the one who designed the now fairly well-known poster for House that Criterion released. Gosh, that was back like 17 years ago, I think. Like,
that was a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah. Love his work.
Yeah. I should also mention this is our 3rd release of films from Finland. And super exciting. So we did Sampo, the Alexander Petrushko fantasy film. She actually worked on with Kavi as well, released the Finnish language version of that several years ago. And then working with the Risto Jarva Association, we put out Finnish filmmaker Risto Jarva's incredible sort of late 60s black and white futuristic sci-fi satire, Time of Roses. So we're really excited that we're able to bring these rare and wonderful gems from Finland to an audience here in North America. And we have actually given some thought. I mean, hopefully if this set does well, to doing a follow-up, kind of a volume 2 of
there's one. There's
Tulio's other work. It's amazing.
As Will had said, that people once they see this will be clamoring for a volume 2. So if this sells, well enough, then that's a very distinct possibility.
He put out.
But folks got to buy it.
That's right. It's what's the old thing? The old saw about. Voting in Chicago, vote early and vote often. So we say the same thing with Teuvo Tulio: buy early and buy often. Encourage everyone to get 3x2.
I'm thinking more like Field of Dreams. If you buy it, more will come.
That's true.
Right.
Well, and it's more important now than ever. I mean, Alrane and the Student of Prague did very well on pre-order. 2551 has done very well on pre-order. More and more of these are starting to disappear quickly.
Yeah, we were.
Is anybody looking at eBay on the sold deluxe editions for Deaf Crocodile?
It's crazy. I mean, I posted it on, I think, social media a couple weeks ago where I'd seen, like, I think it was Tragedy of Man sold for like $120 something, and so I just screen captured it and posted it on Twitter. I was like, yeah, don't let this happen to you. Like, just get your pre-orders in. Like,
buy it for a reasonable price.
Yeah.
Like our editions are priced very reasonably. Like,
and the Alrane Student of Prague was our first silent cinema era release, and so we were obviously a little too conservative with our ordering. And that is, there's maybe 100 left, and we're not out of pre-orders yet. So there's a good chance that'll be gone before they start shipping. So
and we should also mention that when the deluxe edition sells out, the standard edition is available, so people can still
Yeah, we always have the standard editions.
They can see the films. They can see all the visual bonus materials and hear the commentaries. And to be honest, I know, the focus, especially among diehard physical media lovers is you want the deluxe limited edition. But I personally, as a film lover, I have no problem buying the standard edition of something if the deluxe is sold out, or even if it's still available oftentimes, because I want to watch the films.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what's most important to me is the work of the filmmaker.
For sure, if you want to see the films.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have some really great essays that are written that are only available in the deluxe, though. So
yeah, that's it's the work of all the film historians, film critics, Walter Chaw, who contributes to all of our releases. That Alexandra Heller-Nicholas contributes an amazing essay for Teuvo Tulio.
Right, she just started writing for us fairly recently. She did the I think her first piece for us was with the inflatable sex doll, The Wastelands, and that was the first thing she'd written for us. And I, knew her reputation, so I was like, all right, I'm looking forward to reading what she wrote. And she sent it, and I was just, that reputation is well deserved. Amazing writer. Like, that was such a great essay. So hopefully we'll be able to keep having her back because her essays are fantastic.
Well, and a shout out to Dr. Eloise Ross, who is a very acclaimed film historian, did commentary for one of the films and an essay on another one for this Tulio set. So we kind of have her kind of double dipping for Teuvo Tulio, and did a fantastic job with both. So anyone who's listening, if you want the deluxe limited edition, buy early, buy often, because they are tending now to sell out quicker and quicker, and we're trying to adjust. So if we think there's going to be higher demand, we will make more, but you never know when it's going to be enough. And it seems like no matter how many we make, they're selling out. Tragedy of Man sold out very quickly.
That sold out real fast. We were kind of not prepared for that one to sell out as quickly as it did. We were like, whoa, okay.
Well, and we have another amazing Marcel Yankovic film upcoming in February, our first 4K UHD plus Blu-ray release of a Yankovic title, which is Song of the Miraculous Hind. Really astonishing kind of 4-part film that he made, covering tens of thousands of years of Hungarian and Magyar mythology, mysticism, history, along with all of the various cultures and artistic traditions that are interwoven with Hungarian art and culture. And he actually made it while he was in production on The Tragedy of Man, which took 23 years. So he was doing other projects, including he made another entire animated feature film, which is astonishing for anyone who loves his work. Son of the White Mare, Tragedy of Man, Johnny Corncob, Song of the Miraculous Hind is easily the equal of all of those. So we're super excited. But that will probably sell out pretty quickly, the deluxe limited edition, no matter how many we make, because people love Yankovic. So we're going to encourage people to buy early, buy often. So
this release is going to be great. I'm really excited for people to see Tulio. I was blown away by the films, and I'm so eager to see those letterbox reviews start blowing up and seeing the reactions to them, because man, they're wild movies. Anything else about Tulio or anything that we want to bring up before next month?
No.
Well, thank you guys. It's been an incredible fall slate so far. And next month we're going to be talking about the Norstein set, which a lot of people have been slowly counting down to since they've known the release date for quite some time.
Yuri Norstein, we're so excited. First ever Blu-ray release of his work in North America. Beautiful new restorations from Craig. So this is going to be super exciting.
Cannot wait. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. And for everybody listening, check out the site, and we will see you on the next one.
Ryan, thank you, and Dr. Will so much.
Thanks.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description